I've had some pretty interesting experiences with LFG on the PC.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us because you do that a lot. All right, so you saying you're ready, Sin?
Yeah. Let's hit it and quit it.
I will get us started in just a moment. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny and our experiences in the game. We spotlight different guests and communities and are a place to talk about uplifting experiences we have had. I am Kingsley Mack. With me tonight, we have Sin. Sin, how are you doing?
Magical. I'm super magical. I had off 2 days in a row. I worked super hard this week at work for the closeout of the month, and I got Saturday off. And had a yard sale, got rid of a bunch of stuff at the house in my basement that needed to go, and then relaxed. Otherwise, didn't do much.
Except for a lot of work.
A lot of work is an understatement.
Yep. So you're not raid ready yet, right?
I mean, I'm raid ready on PS4, but if we're talking about PC, then no, not so much.
You're not raid ready anywhere.
I mean, no, probably not.
Well, we'll get into all of that, but we also have a great guest tonight, Versten. Thanks for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm just doing splendid. I'm doing what everybody else is doing, trying to get raid ready for Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, and I've done that a little bit. Let's talk about that. I mean, raid ready. What does that mean? I mean, I saw a crazy graphic. Are you following that one where it shows you the different columns where you can save your bounties and do this and do that?
Yeah, kind of vaguely. So, there's a certain few things that I'm leaving out of it, like the Gambit ones. I'm not really a big fan of Gambit, so I'm probably planning on leaving that out. But, like, the flashpoints, the saving the whole bounties thing, the ballistic logs, I'm definitely getting that done. Heck, I'm doing Dreaming City bounties as we speak.
Dreaming City is always kind of fun for me. I don't mind doing those ones.
I wanted to ask, like, what does that mean by saving? Are you saving the bounties? Because I thought Bungie stated most recent that holding on to bounties or those pursuits in the pursuit tab wasn't going to reward anything over the power cap that's there now.
Sin, let us explain this to you.
Oh, man. Here we go again.
Let me get educated. Educate me and everybody.
I mean, you're right, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, so like there's basically two different kinds of bounties that we're talking about here. Powerful bounties and non-powerful bounties, and then you have like challenges and stuff like that. So the ones that I'm talking about saving are the non-powerful bounties that complete challenges. So the challenges aren't really being carried over to the next season because it refreshes on Tuesday, but the non-powerful bounties still contribute towards the challenges.
So, for example, one of the ideas, and the recommendation was to do 7 instead of 8, just because supposedly there's sometimes a bug that hits on the Dreaming City if you do 8. But if you save up 7 of those daily bounties and just save them through Tuesday, do one more on Tuesday, but save them in their check state. Don't turn them in. And then on Tuesday, do one more, turn them all in, and then that'll complete that bounty that says do 8 Dreaming City bounties, and then you'll get a drop. Since it's after Tuesday, it should drop as higher light. It won't be capped at 700. Yeah. Make sense?
Got it. So what other ones other than the Dreaming City are there?
There's the Black Armory ones for the ballistics logs, because the logs themselves are not powerful bounties per se. They just let you purchase powerful frames. And if you buy those on Tuesday, then those are, in the new season.
So you save up your dailies for the Black Armory ones also, and then you can buy those on Tuesday. Also, I think the idea too is if this works out this way is you'll have close to 20 checked off the bat right away, so you'll also get your Ikora bounty just that much quicker come Tuesday.
Yeah, that'll help
Ikora
too.
Bounty will drop at a higher light. So yeah, it's not the Gambit. It's not necessarily if you do any Gambit stuff after Tuesday, you're right. It will drop. From what I remember hearing, the latest news was it'll just be a lower delta than most other powerful bounties. But this is going to be Dreaming City. This is going to be Black Armory. This is going to be Ikora. So hopefully all those ones will drop at levels that are higher. Anyways, there's a whole infographic chart. I'm kind of loosely following it myself. I just started this. I mean, you see all the streamers like, oh, let's do all this raid prep. And then seems like Bungie try to pull back what could be done, but there's always things you can find to do. But I was like, do I want to get into all this crap? But then again, I found myself later on the week. I'm like, okay, there's nothing really to do in the game right now. I'm not raiding. I guess I'll start saving up some bounties. So nonetheless, I started doing that. And I don't mind doing Dreaming City stuff. It's kind of fun for me. And even the Black Armory stuff. Did you see the other day, there was the Japanese and the French daily bounties were on the same day. You could just do bow kills, so you get two of them passed off at once. So that made that kind of fun and easy.
That's, especially if you got like an exotic bow like Lay Monarch and what's that one called again? Trinity Ghoul, that's it.
The one that I never use.
Yeah, same here. It's a real shame because it's a really nice ad clearing weapon. It's really fun to use, but it's just not as effective as it could be.
I should try that some more. I haven't given it a fair shake, but then again, a lot of times I won't give certain weapons fair shakes unless I hear they're becoming meta or a lot of people are using them. Because I don't really have time to test every weapon under the sun.
Are you all doing these bounties on every character?
I'm not.
I am.
There you go.
Yeah, I am. Right now I'm on my Hunter. I got all my ballistics logs and stuff done on my Titan. I think I still got some bounties to polish up on my Warlock, though.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can do this on all your characters. I mean, if I have some more time tonight or tomorrow, and if I'm bored, maybe I'll start it on another character. The other thing I'm kind of working on right now is Dredgen. All I need is the reset, and I'm at 8,000 points. So I feel like, even though I don't care about that title as much, if you've heard me say that in previous podcasts, I probably should be working on it while it's triple infamy. Why not, right? So,
absolutely. You might as well take advantage of the goodies while they're there.
Because that's literally all I have
no
left.
Reason not to.
Yeah, I got my last... I did have one other light versus light that I had to get done. I got that done, so I had 10 of those. So literally all I have left is the reset, so...
Oh man, you had to do the light versus light one?
I had 9 out of 10 for the longest time, and then I finally got one more just last night, I believe, or 2 nights ago.
Nice. I know a lot of people got hung up on that one. I kind of lucked out. Like, I don't have Dredgen, and I'm not really close at all to getting Dredgen because I wasn't really pursuing it. But, like, I did light versus light back before back before machine guns existed. So, like, when Forsaken just launched.
All
so
right.
I had that right down and done.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that's good to have gotten it done early.
It probably is.
Yeah, at least for, eventually when you go for the title.
Now, Versten, question. You say you're running your Hunter now, you said, to get all the bounties, right?
Yep.
And Titan main or Warlock main?
I gotta be honest with you. Like, I kind of evenly split my time between the two of them. Titan main, I'd like to say, but Warlock's a lot of fun too. But there's just something about like the way Bungie's like designed the way Titan armor looks and stuff. It's really cool to me, so I play that more.
And how do you feel about the Titans as far as the state of their supers versus a lot of the other characters right now?
So I feel like Titans right now are kind of the same spot that Hunters were in vanilla D1. Does that kind of make sense? Where you're not really useful enough that, like you are absolutely needed, but it means that if you are one, you kind of can use whatever the hell you want.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Yeah, it feels to me, because I main Titan most of the time. And I do Warlock, typically was my second one that I played, and I really had a lot of fun with the Skull and the Nova Bomb. But Titans, it just seemed like they really didn't have much of a place for their supers, and they didn't have They didn't kind of have that cheesy ability spam like you could do with the Skull and Nova Bomb or Shards of Galanor and,
Spectral Blaze Gwissinvest, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. I think I remember a post a while back about that.
That one, and then the Orpheus and Tether. They just seem to have a little bit more usability to them, and you could use them a lot more consistently. And I don't see that with Hammers. And Hammers was really my main jam.
I feel like Hammers had a point where it was pretty good. It seemed like, wasn't Hammers kind of like the preferred super for, correct me if I'm wrong, but like throwing at Argos? Or something like that?
Yeah, actually, for a time, it definitely was. And it was because of the way the top tree Hammer super worked. Because like the further away you were away from the target, the more damage they did, or the more embers they made. I can't remember which one it was. And so basically, because you're so far away from Argos, your super always does max damage, and all the embers hit Argos. So it just chunks him.
And Titan's my least played character, but I've been leveling up some myself. And I was even telling Sin when we were playing, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I like Hammers. It's fun, but I feel like there's something off about it. Maybe just because I was getting so used to the OP Nova Bomb, but I was like, it either needs to last longer or have more damage or something. There's just something off for it. But maybe there's not. Maybe I'm just used to supers that are too OP. I don't know.
It's possible. I find that I definitely enjoy Destiny a lot more when I play on my Titan, but I think that's kind of because, like, when I'm on my Warlock or my Hunter, like, you use a lot of supers and stuff, maybe a lot of abilities, depending on what it is, but you don't really use your gun that much. And there's a ton of really good weapons in Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah.
Primaries especially. Like, a lot of people don't know, about, like, all the sleeper hits.
Did you use any of these sleeper ricochet things that they're going to be nerfing?
I did it once. It was a Prestige Argos, and I just was like, hey, I saw this thing about how the ricochets hit him. Let's try it out. And then, like, 30 seconds later, he was dead. And that was really about it.
Yeah.
But Sleeper Ricochets 2, back when that came out, and we figured out that the ricochets did a ton of damage, I think I was one of those people shooting it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of silly when I look back on it, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of good weapons. I mean, there's a lot of choices to pick from, that's for sure. And even with us having fun with Outbreak Perfected recently and bringing that into the different raids, and I've been a little busy these last few weeks and haven't been able to raid as much with people, but when I am on PS4, I don't have that weapon on PC yet, but it's been fun bringing it in and just giving it a try. And we're going to have more great weapons coming out.
I'm pretty sure Versten said he would give us a carry after the podcast tonight on getting OP.
On PC?
Well, yeah.
I'm only... What's my power level? I'm ashamed to say I may only be 660.
I think I'm only slightly higher.
On Tuesday, you got that Power Surge quest, which will bring you up to 690.
Oh, I will be doing that fairly soon on. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Even though I'm sure we'll be hitting it hard for a little bit on PS4, there's no reason not to quickly go over to PC and do at least the Power Surge quest or whatever, and then kind of be right up at that same level.
I almost kind of wish that Destiny wasn't on multiple platforms. It would just make an easier decision just to say, hey, let's go hardcore and play it on PC and not have to switch back and forth, because I think my problem has always been starting it on PS4 when Destiny 1 came out and then maining it hardcore when Destiny 2 first launched. It's tough to go back because I really don't have much on PC.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I know a lot of people will say, yeah, you just got to switch over, hit it hard, don't worry about it. I mean, that is one theory, but a lot of it has to do with also where your friends are, where you're going to play most often. I mean, I wish I would have just switched. If I was going to switch to PC, I wish I would have done it earlier on at the beginning of D2. And then a lot of the people that Sin and I know, when they did switch to PC, was more recently, kind of an awkward time. And so we got it on PC. I wanted more people to raid with, but we already had so many hours and time and weapons and titles into the PS4 version. It's like now's kind of an awkward time. And I'm just hoping there'll be some kind of cross-save, cross-progression thing coming up. Or maybe when the new title comes out, if there's any kind of like a hard reset that we all have to hit, then that might be the time to consider switching for good, depending on where more of our friends are that we play with. But Boy, cross progression. Or sorry, cross play.
Cross play, cross progression. Yeah,
cross play.
That would be something.
That would be something. There's been some rumors this week again about they have that June 6th announcement that's coming out a couple days after the new season, and they said the future of Destiny 2, what that means. And I don't think we're going to hear anything quite yet, but for whatever reason, rumors are coming out again. Because of the new Call of Duty stuff, the Dauntless game, there's more and more things where there's at least possibilities for cross progression, cross play, whatever.
Oh yeah, right. That new Call of Duty, that one's cross play, isn't it?
It is cross play, supposedly.
Yes,
yeah,
from what we heard.
Yeah, so it's possible. Now, maybe the biggest thing that might be holding it back could be technical reasons. Now, there's some logistical things that people have concerns about, but I have answers to that. But technical reasons, I think the engine's probably quite a bit different on PC versus PS4, because wasn't the PC one developed by a different studio. In general, I think I heard that.
I think it was Vicarious Visions that did the port.
So who knows if it's possible or not? But boy, if they could, I almost feel like too, Sony might allow cross play without cross progression, because that would mean people aren't necessarily leaving PS4, but they're playing with PC people. That for the users, that's not as good. For us players, but anything.
It's the one that makes the most sense, though, or that's the one that's most likely to happen.
Yeah, I just hope something happens. It's for this game. How much time I put into it, it'd be nice.
Cross progression too. My thought with that, I get the whole cross play thing, because you can play. It doesn't matter what platform you are on. You can play with anybody. But really, Sony could take the stance that if cross progression was allowed, it could allow people that have played on Xbox or PC that want to make a switch to their platform can do it. And they might also lose some people to the other platforms, but they could also gain some people from these other platforms. Or it could just mean that people want to play on all three platforms and they don't want to be handicapped or feel like they're missing out because of it. I think it's a huge opportunity if they can execute it correctly.
Yeah. I think you're right. I'm sure they're worried that people would leave. It's probably, yes, you might have some Xbox players coming to PS4, but then you might, but another likely scenario, which we've already seen, is some PS4 players go to PC. That's probably what Sony's worried about. But just give us something.
Those people who were going to do it, they were going to do it anyway. So it doesn't really
That's
matter.
true. That is true.
Yeah, it's just waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah. So yeah, bounties. I mean, we were saving them up. We're doing this for raid prep. I just wanted to say one other thing, that bounties has been an interesting thing. I've generally enjoyed having bounties. I know some people have said, why do bounties? I mean, yeah, it would be nice if we could just get more at a kiosk in the tower, kind of like D1 versus going to the planets. I tend to not get the planet ones because they aren't always as useful. But I generally like bounties. And I've even been stepping away from doing them recently because there hasn't been as much of a reason. But now with this raid prep, it's given me a reason to do the bounties again. It's actually given me a reason to hop back into Black Armory, the forges. I hadn't been doing the forges for like several weeks also. So
yeah, I know.
I kind of like bounties.
I think they're a good thing for the replayability of the game. Like, for example, like the raid prep that we're talking about here. Unlike you, I actually am grabbing the destination bounties, or at least the easier ones, because not only, like, they're usually super basic, like, say, kill 75 hive or whatever in this area, but they also give you planetary materials too, which, as we know, are used for infusion, and some of us are kind of low on them.
That's right. I
Myself
always forget
included.
that. Good tip. I mean, all of us pretty much know that, but I tend to forget that too. It's like one more way you can get the mats without having to worry about if spiders selling them that day or going around and just finding them on the planet. It's just one more way to get a few more mats. So that's definitely worth it. Excellent.
It's not a huge amount of materials, but it's enough to give you a little boost.
Before we go further, I also kind of wanted to ask, since you've been playing Destiny with us and with me, we did a raid, but what got you into
sure
Destiny?
Did.
Yeah, we'll talk about the raid, but how did you start getting into Destiny? Or like, how long have you played it and all that?
Technically, I've played Destiny since it released, but practicality, not really. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, played it on launch for, like, what is it, like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of started dropping off for interest because, let's be honest here, it was kind of weak on launch.
Now, just to be clear, are we talking about Destiny 1 or 2?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're talking about Destiny 1 here.
Just wanted to make sure. Mm-hmm.
Came back a little bit for Taken King. Dabbled a little bit in House of Wolves, but not really that much, honestly. Mostly skipped Crota's End and did a tiny bit of Rise of Iron. So, here and there.
Okay. And did you play Xbox, PlayStation when you were doing Destiny 1?
So I got a PS3/PS4 account for like right up until about Taken King. I think last year or something like that. Destiny 2 is in kind of a bad state. So I bought the collection on Xbox One, and then I've been playing with the guys over at Destiny Legacy, or I think that's what they are. It was like a Discord linked in their sidebar, and they're mostly on Xbox, and it's been good fun with them. So I played a little bit there too.
Great. What would be some of your favorite things that you did in Destiny 1? Is it also raids, kind of like what you like to do a lot right now?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of raiding. There's just something about, like solving a puzzle with a bunch of other people. Something that, like once you're really new to it, or when it's brand new, it's really difficult and you spend hours working at it. But then, like, let's say you're doing it blind and then it suddenly clicks. It just makes sense. Yep. You get that sense of revelation.
Exactly, yeah.
And then once you master it and you know every nook and cranny of it, it's something majesty, honestly.
It makes sense. I started halfway through D1, and I really liked it when they brought the reprised 390 harder versions of the raid out. And it was nice to hop back into a raid like Crota, where I never experienced it at the beginning when it was hard on the quote normal mode, but to experience it with cheeses taken out and a new harder mode, it was pretty neat. It was like, wow, this is a raid I'm very familiar with, but now it's harder, and there's extra things we can do for extra challenges. Time challenges to get the wizards down and all that stuff. And
oh yeah,
it's fun. The
whole sword bearer challenge too, where you have to have a different sword bearer every pickup.
Yeah, and then great armor ornaments that you would get.
Yeah, most of the armor ornaments during Age of Triumph were really nice. Can't say I was a big fan of the Crota ones, but the King's Fall ones I really liked. Some of the Vogue ones I was a really big fan of. I think I actually talked about this with you, but I wasn't actually a fan of the Wrath of the Machine armor.
I liked most all the armor on my Warlock. I'm trying to remember what they looked like on other characters. I don't think I liked the Volta Glass one as much on my Warlock, but I liked Crota. I liked Wrath of the Machine a lot. I kind of like those very sleek, tight to the body Warlock vests, cloaks, more so than like the skirts that floof out that are a little more open at the bottom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I really like the Wrath of Machine armor personally, and that was typically the most time I played was after really the Taken King launch, and really hit it hardcore in the Rise of Iron. So with Wrath of Machine, that was my main raid. So interesting fact, Versten, do you know how many raids you've completed?
Oh man, off the top of my head, a few hundred at least. Not like compared to most people, that's a lot. But like I've seen some people like actually, you just reminded me that I did a Wrath of the Machine. I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago or so, the Axis Challenge. I think it was, and we had these two guys that we pulled in from the Xbox LFG. One of them had 893 clears on Wrath of the Machine.
Whoa.
And the other one had like 670.
Well, spoiler, we put it, Sin ran the command in our Destiny stats channel. So if you want to hop over there, you can see. But it looks like on your PC account, you have 385.
That is intense.
Total.
Yeah, there we go. So yes. I was pretty close.
You got about 62 over Bo.
That is pretty awesome, because that's more than Bo Solaris. And look, I'm third place. Proud.
Yeah,
me.
Look at that. Like you're on the podium. I do have a slight Leviathan addiction.
Hey, that's okay. So you'll enough of addiction, you'll just find LFG random weirdos to play with, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Random weirdos. Yeah. You see a bunch of those around there.
So I bring up that story because I actually was playing on PC with you the other night. What was it, 2 nights ago? Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, something like that.
I was like, I want to play over on PC, and we were just looking for somewhere to group up with. And you introduced me to the Destiny PC LFG group, which is crazy. Like, I never joined that one before. It's like a Grand Central Station in there, trying to figure everything out.
It's definitely probably the most active LFG Discord on PC.
Oh yeah, hundreds and hundreds of just channels and everything. And we found a group, and they were colorful. They were interesting. This is one of the more interesting LFG groups that I played with. Hey, but hey, we at least got it done.
We did, yeah. Honestly, it was a surprisingly smooth group for what I really expected the moment I dropped in there and heard them go off.
So Sin, get this. Okay, so we're in orbit, and I think we'd even mentioned, maybe no one mentioned anything about the ship, but, Versten obviously has Outbreak perfected, and he has the ship, okay? And then we're in the raid, and something comes up about like, oh, Outbreak perfected, do we have that yet? And Versten says, no, I don't have it. I heard it's not that good, or basically, correct me if I'm wrong, you basically said something like that.
So what I said was, why bother getting it when Graviton Lance does the same thing and you get it for free from the campaign?
That was the best. And these guys, they were just so clueless or drunk, or I don't know what was going on.
Nice.
He obviously has it. He has the ship. Oh, man. Yeah, very colorful group. But I wanted to point out, you've definitely done Leviathan a lot, because I've never bothered learning the underground part. And I know it's not necessarily hard. You just got to do it a few times. And a lot of people I've been with, I've just gotten burnt because they claim they know it, and then they don't. And then we go around in circles, or they have to actually look up a guide, and that's fine. But then it takes them a few minutes or whatever. You obviously know that really well. You also did some other techniques that I'd always been meaning to learn, but I hadn't taken the time just due to laziness yet. If you don't mind me asking, tell me more about the pattern for the punching the counselors or the scions in the Calus room, because you were doing a technique where after the first one you only had to hear one call out.
Yeah. So there's actually I can't remember who exactly figured this out, but I'll let you know once I find the post again. But it was actually a post on Reddit, and some guy discovered that there was a pattern to the callouts depending on which player was which number. Imagine a player is number 1 through 3. So number 1 would see a certain symbol, and you would have to punch this symbol. Number 2 would also see a certain symbol, and that would mean you'd have to punch that symbol. Kind of get what I mean?
Yep.
As an example, if you're player number 2 and you see sun, then you would need to punch cup. I don't really know how they figured out this magic, but it works. So I'm really not one to argue.
Yeah. It's always helpful when you have less crosstalk, right? Less call-outs, less talking. It just makes it easier.
That's kind of the main reason why I do that, is because sometimes people can have trouble calling from left to right, or say maybe they're too busy killing a scion, or maybe 2 of the guys got shoved and the only one left is this one dude. If there's one left and you know which number he is, you can finish it.
Yeah, so I'll have to look that up some more myself. That's great.
I'll throw you a link, or I'll just
yeah, we'll include the link in the show notes later when the podcast comes up.
Really it's a really helpful resource.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then the other thing, which I have done with some groups, but again, I forget about this, so I haven't run it too many times, is remind me what the reason is for one person to die in the throne room while you're getting ready to take down the shield.
So were you around when people were doing 4 in Void and then 2 in Throne?
Yeah, a little bit, especially on hard mode, right?
So the reason why is because when there's more people in Void, I believe this is the reason, but it seems to be the case. When there's more people in Void, it spawns more skulls for you to shoot.
Oh,
so when you have say 5 people in Void, you're doing 5-1, something crazy like that. I've done that a few times. You get there's just a sea of skulls. But what some people figured out too is that if you have the 2 people in the throne kill themselves and then just have the one guy to break the shield, it's still going to spawn the same amount of skulls as it would if you were doing 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's basically guaranteed 100 plus skulls.
Yeah. Although, with this funny group, we still didn't one phase it the first time.
No, we did not.
We can blame it on them, because even another group I went into last night, bringing a new person through, and we only had like maybe 70 skulls, and we still one phased it. So I don't know what was up with them.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Sometimes it's just poor weapons, or somebody activates a plate early, or somebody dies from Calus's hand cannon, his heavy hand cannon.
And I always feel a little more out of my element on PC too, since I don't play as much over there. I need to get some better weapons, but it was fun to hop over there again and play that. So that was a lot of fun in more ways than one.
Oh man, Gauntlet was really interesting, because like they were like talking constantly, and it was all, that really, really colorful speak.
Yeah.
Now that's I wish I had Shadowplay running.
Take on for Calus, but are there, Kingsley? You might know a little bit better because you and I have played on those raids. Was there any other strategies throughout the rest of the raid that's different for Leviathan?
I don't think we were doing anything else. Oh no, well, no, sorry, I was thinking Last Wish. I'd seen some new things on Last Wish recently, but unless you can say anything else first, and that maybe we didn't even do that night.
Gauntlet.
Do you know any others? Gauntlet.
Yeah. The other main thing from Gauntlet is you'll hear a lot of people refer to it a few different ways. Like one person I heard too is cheesing it. The other ones, like, triple triangle, shooting them all at once, stuff like that. You can just straight up skip the call out for the gates. But that one, it's actually pretty simple. A lot of people use Prometheus Lens and Cold Heart for that. You might have noticed. I personally use a 900 RPM weapon because I think it does the same thing, but it doesn't take up an exotic slot, so you can run something enjoyable. But all you do is you just shoot all three triangles, and then it just works.
That makes it a little easier, I suppose.
A little faster sometimes, but mainly a little easier. Like if you have, say, like you have like a kind of weak puncher, like say they're not really that great at shooting the triangles.
Yeah.
Then you can just solo the triangles yourself, and all the puncher has to do is just worry about hitting the scion.
Yeah, that is true. I on the Last Wish thing, I saw something recently where in the now I feel silly. My favorite encounter in the raid, the puzzle room, the vault. What's it called? The one right before Riven. No, right.
No, you're talking about Vault.
Vault, yes, Vault.
Yeah.
If you're a warlock with blink, you can when you're taking down that captain, you can tractor cannon towards the door that'll close off, kill him, and then immediately blink through, and you'll get through so you don't have to run around the long way.
Yeah, that is the thing. And you don't actually need to even be a warlock to do it. All you got to do is you can just tractor cannon the guy out of the room, and he'll be in the center room. It'll drop there. You just pick it up and slam the plate.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel silly.
Blink is undoubtedly a more stylish way to do it, but not quite necessary.
Okay, I was assuming like you couldn't push him past or something. Maybe he would spawn back or something, but maybe they had only learned the first tier of the strat, but not the second. See, that's why we need you here. You know all the cool things.
I don't know all the cool things. I know what it is, but I haven't done Overbelly yet.
Yeah, Overbelly. Yeah, what is the theory or what's the idea of that?
So there's so it's basically just going out of bounds, from what I understand. There's one over at the embarkment. Those, like, I don't even know what to call them. They're like metal plates that kind of look like a rib cage, where the colossi are, the big line of them. If you jump up to like the second or third one or something like that, there's actually a hole in the world there.
Okay.
So you can just skip out of bounds and then go straight to the encounter.
No, that's cool. I mean,
no underbelly, no castellum.
I know about the little cheese where you can get into the underbelly. Not that it's super hard to solo the keys or whatever, but you can also, the longer way, you can go in castellum, come back, and then die in the pool of water, and that'll beam you into the underbelly.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So I appreciate those things, not to necessarily even always cheese, but also to kind of just see things more so. Like the the Whisper mission, there was a way to cheese into the mission, which was really helpful for me.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as a warlock, because I could practice it at any time. The ads wouldn't be there, but at least you could practice the jumping puzzle.
Yeah, I did that one a bunch because whenever I would take like my clanmates or my friends through or whatever, like you had to wait for the public event. And not only that, but you had to wait for the specific public event. And that sometimes took a while.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're waiting, you can just go into the last sector, do the jumping part, show them kind of how it goes. And then that, betters your odds when the public event finally does come along. Of course, now we don't need it, but
yeah,
back then it was really helpful.
Yep. I love learning about all that stuff. And of course, people trying to figure out all the out of bounds for even original Vault of Glass and just exploring around and having fun. It intrigues me. I definitely follow the Destiny Raid Secrets channel. All right. One thing that was interesting this week, and then we really need to get into some news too, because there's a lot to talk about with some new Opulence info. There's been this little thing on Twitter. People talking about hearing whispers.
I've heard the videos.
And are you hearing whispers?
I think it was the article by Paul Tassi and the whispers. And I've never heard them before, but I also play through the game fairly quick. So that is interesting. Do we know if they were there before, and maybe now just people are more apt to hearing it because we're close to the Opulence? I mean, okay.
100%. They were there before.
Yeah.
So I was one of those, honestly, it's ambient noise. It always seems like something because, it's kind of audible. But at the same time, the human mind hears what it wants to hear. You kind of fill in the blanks. But at the end of the day, it is kind of just ambient noise. But I have heard it since, I believe, Vanilla D2.
Well, I also feel like in the video of watching of Paul Tassi's one, and maybe it's different in other situations, but when you heard that quote whisper noise, he was near a terminal. I'm like, it's just background ambient noise. It's like those terminals sometimes make noises. It's like a big deal. Yeah.
Happens a lot around Cabal stuff, but you know,
exactly.
It's always worth looking into every little bread and crumb because this is Destiny after all. Bungie does hide that sort of thing all over the place.
But in this case, it's just noise.
Yeah.
Probably. We'll find out, but probably.
If it wasn't just noise, I'd honestly be really surprised about it.
They're like, haha, they haven't figured that out yet. Yeah. There's so many things that people would have figured out if there was something there.
What's that one called? Last Exit Easter egg, anyone? Is that what it was?
Not familiar.
It was like a D1 Crucible map. Some guy put in like a fun little thing and people thought it was like a really big deal until I think the guy confirmed that it was nothing. It was just a fun little Easter egg. It was some kind of like cipher or something like that. I'd have to look it up again, but that was what I was immediately reminded of.
It kind of rings a bell, but yeah, something like that. A lot of times Easter eggs are just that. They don't mean, in our community, we feel like if someone finds an Easter egg, it's got to be some new quest or something big, but it could just be something like,
it doesn't have to be like something really important. Like the Cosmodrome one, for example, when you scan the pod, it doesn't amount to anything. It's just a fun little thing they put in there.
Yep. Very true. All right. So are we excited about June 4th? Sin, you're going to get the podcast out before June 4th?
I am going to certainly try. My week should be fairly late this week with work. So wait a minute. That's in 2 days. You're expecting me to have it done in 2 days.
It was a loaded question.
You're setting me up here.
No
Gotta
worries.
give him a double-edged answer.
When you're hearing this, listeners, it will likely be after June 4th, but still, we're excited. We still want to talk about it at least a little bit, even though everything we're saying might be a little bit off. But I just, one thing that was pretty cool about seeing the news and what we now know about what they call the chalice.
Chalice of Opulence.
Yes. It reminds me, Sin, we always talk about Diablo. Isn't this more like a Diablo 3 type thing? You have different runes you can put in. You have different ways you can slot it so that it can kind of give you the drops that you want.
Yeah, this seems a little bit more unique compared to what Destiny 2 had typically been. And the Menagerie, I guess that's the new 6-played match-made activity that ties along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see in how it actually is going to play out. So
yeah, it could have some playability because what they're doing here is, yes, we are still going to have to grind because we need the elements, we need the runes, we need the things to put into this to kind of craft it how we want. But then as we give it more powers and capabilities, then we can have it come to a point where we can go after certain builds, right? That's the idea. So if we want a certain drop of a weapon, I don't know if the word is correct, if it's guaranteed or more likely. I don't know if you know, Versten, or if anyone knows yet.
Like you mean like guaranteeing like a drop of a weapon with a certain roll or a certain
with a certain roll, yeah.
So from my interpretation of the TWAB is like you can put in a certain rune combination to get a certain weapon with a certain masterwork, but the roll will be random. So like they said, you could put in that one set that they revealed for the beloved sniper rifle, and it gives it a handling masterwork.
Yes. Okay. So just the master. That is a good way. It's good that I just reread that
I think it's honestly probably the best way to go about it because you'll still be grinding for random rolls, but it takes the RNG out of the masterwork part, which I see a lot of frustration with because you get somebody or you get a gun where otherwise it's completely perfect, but then let's say it's a shotgun with a stability masterwork. Whoops. Try again.
It's like their own version, like crafting, like your WoWs or your Diablo 3, where you can craft a weapon, but there is still that randomness to it.
Yeah. Most importantly, though, it keeps people playing.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be new versions of this where we can give ourselves more options to build it out. I mean, I'm just not even fully understanding it myself yet, but we know June 4th it comes out, and then June 18th, there's a new Menagerie boss. June 25th, there's heroic mode. It seems like we're going to have to at least do heroic mode to get our chalice probably to the highest level of capability, whatever that means. You know, the most capable slots or customization or whatever we're going to call it.
My guess is more options and then say like higher light level upgrades. It'll probably be like a weekly or something like that.
Yeah. And we also now know that it will be a match-made activity from the director, except for the heroic mode. We will have to bring in preset fire teams. Seems to make sense. Maybe heroic mode's just, there's no way Blood Blueberries will be able to get that done. So we just got to bring our own teams and know what we're doing.
I kind of like the idea of that. Having like a lower tier one that's a little bit more accessible, and then the heroic mode will likely have, you know, like say some new mechanics or something, and it'll probably kind of feel kind of like a raid.
I love the idea too, because here's the thing, you probably know too, like as someone who likes to raid a lot, one of the biggest things that's hard about finding people is like, oh, I don't want to put 2 or 3 hours into it. Well, with this, we can say, let's jump into it for a half an hour. You know, more people will be likely wanting to do that. So
it's definitely the idea is a bit more digestible than, you know, sinking your time into say like a potentially frustrating run of Scourge of the Past, for example.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even though, you know, for most groups, Scourge takes what, like 25 to 35 minutes nowadays, I think, as long as everyone's experienced. And if you're really, really crazy, you know, like you're going sub 20.
Yeah, it's excellent. I'm excited for it. We're really close as when we're recording this to it coming out. I know I'm going to take the day off myself, jump into the activity, find out what this required entry quest is to get into the raid, get that out of the way, and then hopefully I'll let people know in the Discord. Again, when you're hearing this, it'll all be passed, but I'm hoping it'll be not a super long quest. The way I'm figuring is it can't be anything too complex, because if this is an idea to get, quote, anyone up to 690, just like we had the power surges before up to 640, then they can't make it too hard. They can't have it be an activity that, let's say, a 600 person would never be able to complete, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to just probably be, hopefully there's some interesting story mission, but I'm kind of guessing, unfortunately, it might just be some of the boring normal stuff again, like do some strikes, do some this, do some that. Yeah.
Yeah. It also, like, considering that it's for the annual pass holders too, It could also be something that requires, you to be around 640 because of the original power surge bounties from Drifter. There's that possibility too, I think.
It could, yeah, that's true.
So it could be something like really basic, like, do some Reckoning tier 1, hop in, kill some Taken.
Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping we hear, I check it out and everyone's kind of saying like, oh, you can get it done in 20 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes. And then that's good news for people that hop in that night that can't take the day off. And then we can all kind of like just, okay, let's have fun, start playing the game. Let's hop in the raid for a little bit, see what it's like. Let's hop in the menagerie. Let's just have fun. Sounds like it could be a fun night.
And I mean, I think Bungie, like they said so themselves that they think they have, but I think they kind of learned their lesson with the forges.
Oh, they did. Yes.
I still have to complete the bow frame on my Warlock, and then on my Titan, I still have the Vex transponder. I think I mentioned this to you. I was like, oh no, when I logged onto my Titan, complete heroic Spire integration, and I just, I blanched. Like, my
I don't
face
know
just
if I'm
went white.
ever going to do that on 2 other characters.
Dedication, I tell you.
Oh, that is the dedication. That's like doing the exotic sword quests in D1 over again on other characters.
Oh man, yeah, okay. Yeah, on the Xbox, I actually did them all at the same time, including killing the bosses. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Because you got, the 3 knights, and then you got Alakul as well to deal with, and then you got the Thrall and the Acolytes, and it's a huge chaotic mess, but it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun quest, for sure. Except for all the stuff you had to do before.
Yes. Yeah. I'd rather wait for public events on Mars for Sleeper again than that.
What was the strat? You'd have like a sniper with the scope that would kind of show you where the resources were. I remember that being a strat or something. Yeah.
If you have, say, a ghost that had a finder perk, because those did exist too.
That's what it was, yeah.
Is when you scope in, because your zooms increase, so you view more distance. I don't really know a good way to say it, but that's kind of what I mean. So you just scope in, and then there you go. It'd be marked on your HUD.
Yeah.
You could see further away instead of having to get basically right next to the material. Really sped things up, that's for sure.
And then, Sin, are you ready for rockets that can turn corners again? June 11th, truth.
I mean,
the truth may shock you.
Yeah, it sounds like it might shock me.
Actually, I think it's a Void rocket launcher. I don't think it's an Arc one.
Yeah, it looked like it was Void just from what I could see in the video. So I'm kind of curious to how that's gonna
shake things up.
Yeah, shake things up, especially with everything happening with Sleeper and Whisper and Lord of Wolves. It just seems like it could leave the opportunity for something else to step up and all those
fill the void.
To fill the void. No pun intended.
Hey, I'm happy to have rockets again. I mean, there's been some tracking. You can do it somewhat, but I'm happy to have rockets again that I can really just get those wizards that are floating around. You're not going
Two-tailed
anywhere.
Fox comes close, but it's not quite the same.
You're not going anywhere. We got truth now. And then Lumina Quest, another hand cannon.
Oh,
July 2nd.
Why?
Who else is excited to use another hand cannon?
I mean,
I'm going to do it, but geez.
Yeah, I'm still going to do it regardless. I'm just happy that Outbreak was not a hand cannon. We've had too many
coming back in D2, but now it's a hand cannon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just happy for the fact that we got something exotic that wasn't a hand cannon, because it's been all the time with the exotic hand cannon quest, and I'm just over it. What about an exotic auto rifle quest? Why not something like that? Give us some variety.
Are you still wanting Zalo Supercell to come back? I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, it feels like it's probably too similar to Risk Runner, but I wouldn't mind.
That's kind of the one issue there.
10 billion hand cannons that are
Risk Runner's older brother.
They might as well bring Zalo in.
He's moved out of the house.
Yeah. And then along with this, we have Moments of Triumph coming back July 9th and the Tribute Hall. So that goes with it, I suppose. And then July 30th, Solstice of Heroes. So I feel like this season will be jam packed in theory. If you don't mind, if you like doing those things, I had fun last summer, kind of running all those triumphs and running all the. I'm a sucker for these little. Okay, let's do the same activity again, but now do it this way, and you'll get an extra triumph. I mean, it gives me something.
Yeah, I was one of those people that got the ship from Solstice, so I did all the armor on all 3 characters. It was a grind, but I enjoyed most of it, honestly.
Yeah, it gave you something to do.
I think the one thing I kind of hated about it was having to play Payback. I'm just not a big fan of that mission for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really place why.
That is... Okay, which one is that again?
That's the one where you get the tank, and Cade's
yeah.
oh, well, why do they get a tank and I don't? Oh, your super tank can't fly. Stuff like that.
I've never loved all the... Except for a little bit, the Sparrow Racing in D1, I've never loved all the little extracurricular
activities
vehicles in Destiny. I just want to run around.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I don't care about going in the tanks. I don't care about the sparrows and the enemy ones, whatever they're called, the
interceptors,
or
pikes,
and all that. Pikes, yeah,
for the fallen version.
Yeah, but that's just me. The tank mission, I guess, was kind of cool the first time you did it because it was a little bit different. But yeah, I don't want to be doing that over and over. And it was so long, right?
I mean, the tank mission blew me away because, like, the last thing I expected to see, because there wasn't a tank in Destiny 1. I think the closest thing you got to it was the interceptor.
Right. I don't remember there being a tank in D1.
Tank, I was like, whoa, this thing's awesome. And then it had cluster missiles, too. Or, missile pods. I don't really know what to call it.
Yeah.
But I think, actually, thinking about it a little bit more, my main problem with Payback was that it seemed to just kind of drag on.
It does. Yeah, you don't want those longer missions to have to keep doing them over and over. It's always nice when it's a shorter mission.
Yeah. Especially when you have to do them, like 15 times. Because you got to generate orbs, and the tank's the most efficient way to generate, say, arc orbs.
Yep.
And as we're speaking this, I just got duoed by the 2 ogres from today's mission, or this week's mission.
Oh.
Half a second, guys.
Nice.
Yep. All right, let's talk real quick. We have a few more things. There's a lot of exciting stuff in this TWAB. The 3 pinnacle weapons. I'm going to be going for all 3 this time because normally I'm a pleb and don't like to step in comp. But comp, boy, that is totally changed this time. Let's start with that. So for the comp one, we have the Crucible Revoker Kinetic Aggressive Sniper Rifle, where its unique perk is Reversal of Fortune. Missing a shot returns the bullet to the magazine after a short duration.
Yeah, that seems nice, especially when I think that's going to be more of a Crucible weapon than anything for those who like to do the lanes and.
Oh, even in PvE, you can play aggressively.
I'm still going to use it in PvE.
That's what a lot of people are saying is like, that's a case where I would play it in PvE and just be really aggressive with it and then not worry as much if I'm missing my shots, and then it'll come back.
Yeah, because sniper rifles punish you a ton when you bungle your shot. Like if you miss a precision shot or you miss your shot period, that's a decent amount of damage just gone. At least with a shotgun, you'll hit some of their pellets.
Right.
So hopefully it'll have a good scope that's not too zoomed
It's
in.
got an ambush. So the same one that's on the Akin.
Oh yeah, low zoom. Yep.
Yeah, so not only is it a low zoom scope, but it's also an aggressive frame.
Well, there we go.
That'll be interesting.
That's gonna one shot headshot Spectral Blades for those of you guys who listen. I think it's below a certain resilience.
And we need to earn 3,500 total glory points, but you do not lose progress when losing a match. So there we go. Any pleb can get this weapon now.
Yeah, it's literally just a time sink at this point.
So Sin, I will be hopping in some comp. I'll be hoping I'll get my Suros Regime Catalyst, and I'll be getting this at the same time.
Suros Regime Catalyst. That grind will start. Now, they rumored, or there might have been some rumors, are they going to be reducing the competitive points needed to get some of the pinnacle weapons like Recluse? Is that something that was true, or is that just something that was rumored?
I think honestly that sounds a bit more like it's just rumors. I I think the last time Bungie did something like that, it was the Ace of Spades quest, and that was just because it was poorly worded, and a lot of people were complaining about that, so they just changed the way it worked. Recluse, though, Recluse is fairly easy to get. The only one I could realistically see them doing that to is Mountaintop, and that's because Mountaintop, you kind of have to invest your soul and hope you get a return on it.
Yeah.
The Luna's quest for me wasn't that bad. Just used a mix of hand cannons. But again, it depends on the console you're on too. So, like, if you're on, I don't know what the situation is on PS4 and Xbox, but I know all about the Bloom thing. But for me, Ace of Spades is really, really nice.
Yeah, the Bloom thing is definitely annoying, but there is ways you can get around it, get used to it also on console.
Yeah.
And Ace of Spades definitely feels much, much better on PC for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then we have the Vanguard Wendigo GL3 Arc Adaptive Grenade Launcher. And its unique perk is Explosive Light. Picking up an orb of light increases the next grenade's blast radius and damage. So that's cool. And you can carry up to 6 grenades enhanced by Explosive Light. So be sure to not let any orbs of light slip through your fingers. Do you think this is one of the reasons why they nerfed the 2 armor pieces?
Because they're
figuring there's too many orbs on the ground.
It might be something they considered for sure. Because, but at the same time, orbs of light are useless unless you use your super. I think it's also to encourage people that hold on to their supers to dump them. I'm one of those people that are kind of guilty of it. I do it a ton. I have flashbacks to when, you get 1 super per strike at the beginning of D2, and it was near the end of the boss. So you'd want to save it for the boss, because otherwise it's going to take a long time to kill him.
You're totally right. And then when I was noticing in different parts of D2, when I would get my supers back quicker, I'm like, what am I doing holding on to them? I should just use my super and see what it's like. And you worried about if you do it at the wrong time, you won't have it for the boss. So you shouldn't always do that. But it was kind of fun trying different things when I actually had my super a lot. I'm like, oh, this is fun actually just wasting it on a smaller group of ads.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I'm guilty now of holding on to my super. And just talking a little bit earlier about the whole, Titan thing about the not getting them back as quickly. There's just no reason I just gonna throw my hammers all willy-nilly and then have to wait 5 minutes to get them back because I don't have any orbs in the actual environment where I'm at. Not
really?
Like the.
Oh no! You keep. You finish.
That's what she said.
So I was gonna say, it probably doesn't help either that most Sunbreaker mains use Hallowfire Heart, and that is just like Simmering Flames from D1, I believe. I think that was the name of the perk, where it encouraged you to hold on to your super. Remember when Bungie initially buffed that because it used to only work when your super was full, and so you'd have Sunbreakers just never use it.
Right.
But I think that also probably doesn't help with the problem either.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see when things change, where we all go. I know I'm going to be trying out, at least for for Warlock, I'm going to be trying out going back to Nizarek Sin or Chromatic Fire, just to give those a try again, at least for a while.
I don't know if I mentioned this one to you. I think we were discussing that that couple days ago or whatever. But Controverse Hold.
Oh, yeah.
That's really all you got to say is Controverse Hold. It's really nice, and I really like using it with Nova Warp. Yeah, I'm one of those people. So, because if I'm not mistaken, the perk itself activates while you're in your super. So you have damage resistance on top of damage resistance.
Yeah, I'm fine with the armor changes, the nerfs. It didn't really bug me that much. I'm kind of excited. For me, it actually is getting me to force to go out and try different things, because I was kind of getting, even if they hadn't made these changes, I was about to just drop Running Skull because I was getting a little bored with it because I've been doing it for so long. So this will be interesting to see where things kind of go now. And we should even have, if history is any indication, every season so far we've had one new armor exotic class. So interesting to see if there's anything good coming up.
Yeah. Especially if it's on the level of, say, like Liar's Handshake, because that one's really nice. The Joker's Wild Hunter one.
Yeah, and the Warlock one was pretty good too. The
Getaway Artist.
Getaway Artist, yep.
My clanmates and buddies, they said that I probably shouldn't have named my Arc Soul. That's how you get attached to it. I named him Skips.
What did you name it?
I named him Skips.
Nice.
Skips. Oh, little Skips.
Little Skips. Always keep him watch over me.
We need more little things that stay around with us all the time. Again, like Diablo, we need a little NPC animal or character that's just kind of on our side. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the last weapon real quick here. For Gambit, we have the Hush Sword Precision Combat Bow. And its unique perk is Archer's Gambit. Hit fire precision hits grant a massive draw speed bonus for a short duration. Interesting. I mean, we'll see how fast this is. It could be really cool. You go boom, 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 just like really fast.
Yeah, I think I think a few people were thinking that maybe it's similar to, like, I haven't played it, but that Genji guy's Storm Arrow or something like that from Overwatch. I don't really know how that works, but if it's like an absolute hail of arrows, then that might be something interesting, especially with the amount of damage that bows put out. They don't do great DPS, but they do great single shot damage.
I'll definitely go for it, although this one, I'm a little burnt out with Gambit right now, so this one might be lower down on my list to get personally, but I will definitely get it eventually.
You can add me to that list. I'm probably going to get it done eventually, but like...
Not right away.
Not right away. Are you excited for this one, Sin?
The Gambit one? Yeah, not so much.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Versten.
For example... I just got my 21% delirium during the triple infamy because I just couldn't bring myself to play Gambit. I think I mentioned that it's not my favorite game mode. Since Forsaken launched, I've gotten exactly one infamy reset, and it was this week.
Yay. I don't feel like such a schmuck then because I thought I was way behind. Not that you should feel like a schmuck either. What I'm saying is, like, for all the people...
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly, yeah. And there are some people in our group that love playing Gambit, and they are even a little bit sad that it's not going to be the focus anymore in the new season. Like, well, you can't expect it to be the focus forever, but
no.
Yeah,
but it got a fair amount of attention considering Joker's Wild was basically all Gambit. You did get some nice things like Outbreak.
Outbreak, yep. Fusion rifles. Sin, do you do fusion rifles much?
Some. I played around a little bit recently with Loaded Question.
Well, keep that on the ready.
Right.
Yeah.
They're getting a little bit of a increase in PvE.
It's that, like, Bungie gave out the numbers, and it's a really good buff. 30%.
Between 30 to 47%, depending. Yes. That's almost, that's crazy.
So which frame is really Loaded Question?
High impact.
So that's a 30% increase, and it was already pretty good.
Well, yeah, so because that first hit, it's like a huge explosion. So, geez, with the 30% increase on that, you could just be tearing through stuff, one-shotting even more than you are right now. I was already able to one-shot a lot of the, if I hit it just right, a lot of, especially the arc in Gambit, what do you call them? The envoys.
Yeah, the arc shielded envoys.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, keep those fusion rifles on the ready. Some people are
got my Tempered Dynamo ready for go.
Dynamo.
One of my buddies, he swears by it. He uses the same loadout in Crucible and PvE, and so he knows it inside and out. And Tempered Dynamo is his thing.
To play around with that some more. All I've really done is Loaded Questions and Main Ingredient.
Yeah, main ingredient, not so much since Loaded Question.
For me, my go-to fusion, at least where PvE is concerned, is probably Tempered Dynamo. Because Precision Frame, like, main ingredient, but the curated role, for example, comes with Backup Plan and Rampage, which is actually really nice.
That does sound nice.
You can get 2 quick bursts off. Does arc damage, so it slaughters fallen shields, which you fight a lot of in Scourge. Or, a few of them in Scourge from those pesky captains. Rampage is nice for that crowd clearing thing, too. Gives it more range, too, in essence. But for PvP, you got to get yourself an Aaron Till.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've heard. I'm just I occasionally will rock main ingredient. It's not as good as a perfect fusion rifle build, but that's just because I'm not in PvP as much. I can still do okay with it from time to time.
Yeah, it certainly requires a different play style to what most people are used to. But if you ever get the chance to try it, it's not really as great as it could be, but it's still kind of funny to use once in a while and gets me giggling sometimes, is use Blink with a fusion.
I know I need to do that. I always forget, like if I'm getting bored in the game with something to try out, I need to try out my Blink skills some more. No one expects that, right?
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, I tried Blink a few times and couldn't get it. It is interesting. I've never had the patience to try to even control it, and ever since going to a Titan main, it's not been on my list.
Yeah, but if you use Blink, you can get the smug satisfaction when you get through the Morgif part before your teammates.
Right?
Yeah. But there's all sorts of fun things you can do there. I feel like Blink was a little easier to control in D1, though. And that's why I just didn't give it much of a try in D2. But then they fixed it a little bit.
Yeah, I believe it was, I think it was like faster recovery or something like that. Didn't really disorient you as much. And it was a little overused from what I remember.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shadow of its former self, but it's still very capable.
Yeah. So I'll put that on my list. We have Sturm and Drang. Who cares? Let's move on. We have...
Don't let another one of my buddies do that. He swears by Sturm.
Does he?
Yeah, he's really excited about this. He uses Sturm all the time in PvP and in PvE. He's got the catalyst done and everything.
Well, okay. Overcharge damage increased by 100% in PvE. So, yeah. But still.
Just take the current numbers and double them, really. I think the biggest thing is being able to hold up to 99.
Who knows? I mean, this could be one of these things once everyone runs the numbers. But until they do, and they say it is, I'm not going to be running it. Swords, though, I'm excited about swords. Ammo capacity increase to a max of 70. Starting ammo increased by 10. Just all sorts of... There's a huge list. I won't go through it all. But also attack. Some attacks increased by small percentages. But then some damage shooting attack decreases also, just depending on the, like the high-powered ones. But I hope swords get a little more interesting in the PvE aspect. I always liked running my Black Talon, but then I'm out of ammo. This is no fun.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a little bit of a low point for swords. Is they wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for their ammo capacity being so low. Mm-hmm. They were even lower during D2 year 1, but I mean, even with the buff that Bungie gave him, I think when Forsaken dropped, it still doesn't quite feel like enough.
Yeah, I don't think I see him much. I really think I've seen them used much in PvE at all. Honestly,
not much unless you're doing
World Line 0 for PvE speedruns for Leviathan and stuff. That's used quite a bit, but that's they're not using it to kill anything.
Yeah, it's just using to speed and to cheat, basically cheat speed, the actual speed.
Oh, like the guys that did you see the video? We can post it in our Discord later, but a speed run of the Shattered Throne. That was insane. They used out of bounds techniques and swords and PC macros to very quickly, one person would split off and go somewhere to get out of bounds. Someone else would finish the first encounter, then they'd all group up, finish the ogre just super fast, get to the next area super fast, and I think they got it done in, it was like 15 or 20 minutes.
That's nuts.
It was nuts. I just didn't believe it at first until I just didn't understand that one of them was going out of bounds. So I guess you could say it's cheesing quite a bit, but
yeah,
I watched the other guy's point of view.
Possible.
Yeah, it's still possible, and they were awesome because they put a lot of practice into it. I mean, they had to still do. When I was watching the other guy's point of view that actually did the out of bounds moves, it's like, oh boy, he had to practice this some because he was like crazy all over the place with the sword just flying around and just landing on the smallest little platforms just for like a millisecond and then jumping off somewhere else. So definitely took some skill for sure.
I do kind of like those sorts of things too, because out of bounds glitches have been kind of a staple for Bungie's franchises. An example would be flying the Seraph in Halo Reach. I don't really like. I remember seeing a YouTube video about You know, like you said, landing on a very specific spot, going a very specific speed, all to get out of bounds, just for a chance to knock this thing out of the air and fly it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some crazy things you can do there. It is fun. It is part of the game, right? It's like they try to lock it off because they don't want people just like having a bad experience accidentally getting out of bounds. But there's still ways that people find out. And if you're one of these players that just use it to explore or to find some crazy ways to do stuff, it's all the better. It makes the game interesting.
I wish I was that good.
You and me both.
We'll get
just
there.
To figure that stuff out.
Yeah, it's intense. I barely have enough time to get on at nights to typically play, let alone to run these encounters over and over to find a way that's going to maximize my time. But it would be nice to know those, because then that means I could fit more runs in any given time.
Well, Sin, are you good enough to finish the raid within a week? Because if we can, we get this cool opportunity at their raid jacket, which looks pretty awesome.
That's if you get it within the week. But that emblem, though.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah. I'm going for that.
Well, I'm going to quote go for that.
I'm off on Wednesday, so if I need to cheat and watch somebody else do it while I'm finishing the power-up quest at night, just so I can get a head start in the beginning part of the raid, I am game for doing that. It doesn't matter.
That's just the thing too. Like the only head start you could really get is mechanics wise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right up until you start getting into the 720 territory because of the whole contest thing.
Yeah. Realistically, I don't know if I'll get the emblem, and I don't entirely care if I don't, but it'll be cool. We'll try for it. Wednesday I'll have some time too, but not in the evening, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see what we can get going. Well, of course, it'll end by the evening time anyways. It'll be 24 hours. Yep.
I gotta see
you'll
if
still
my
be able to get the
wife will be
jacket
home to watch the kids, though.
Yeah,
I still want to make sure if my wife's going to be home watching the kids Wednesday, Red Bull.
All right, let's do it.
Coffee and Red Bull and flatlining. Let's go.
You find that the podcast is no longer after this week, it's because Sin has died.
Not to be grim or anything.
No, not to be grim. No, you'll be fine. Boy, there's so much. One last thing I wanted to talk about in the TWAB, and then if you guys have anything else. But the Pursuits tab changing. This is awesome to me. This looks excellent. It's moving out of that spot in your normal inventory area and becoming a tab on the director screen right next to map. It looks like it'll be cleaner, and they'll have more room from 50 to 63, so we can hoard more bounties now. I'm excited.
I think that's a great change. It reminds me a lot of the quest page from D1, but definitely cleaner. One thing that I still have a problem with is navigating that page, because it is kind of messy with all the different like graphics and stuff for the quest icons and crap like that.
Oh yeah,
and that one seems like it's a lot more minimalist, simpler.
And it looks like it'll just have the basic sort thing again, like new or whatever the options are, newest or whatever you're working on. So it's not we can't expect like subcategories or anything like that. But I still like what I'm seeing here in the graphic. This should be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for that new Pursuits tab. I think that's a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, and having the more bounties, more space is nice as well. And I'm always running out of space.
Yeah, same here. I'm actually out of space right now.
Oh yeah, especially with what's going on right now with
the raid prep. I think that was one of the reasons Bungie cited for increasing it too. I think it was like a throwaway line in the TWAB or something, but I believe they mentioned raid prep.
Yep. Sin, did we watch any movies of the week?
I watched the one, Trevor Perfected. And
it was kind of funny.
I know I said this before the podcast, but I will never forget the part where it runs into Zavala watching a video, and it's just, "What's up, guys? Rick Kakis here," and the Zavala just gets smashed. That really made me laugh hysterically.
No kidding. Rumor has it he still hasn't finished the video.
Oh man.
And I really like this one at the end. It has or it has it sounds like the Omnigul scream, but it's implying Savathun.
Right.
Just watching it, it's hilarious.
Honestly, like I lost it the moment I realized that at the very beginning, the wizard was experiencing the apply bug. That was when I lost it.
Yeah. I know. Which that will be getting fixed too, by the way.
Woo! Let's not forget about the actual best part about the new update, Luxurious Toast going infinite.
Yeah, Luxurious Toast. I don't have that yet. We need to get that, Sin. We need to play
yeah. I mean, we did the opener today after our little raid marathon type thing, so you can definitely, if you're on PC again sometime, I'll see about getting you through that.
Yeah, for sure.
Spire is such a great raid. People don't like it because it's so mechanically based, but it's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah?
Prestige?
Yeah. No. I did Prestige Spire once. That's more than enough. Normal Spire, though, it's great.
You must have gotten the Catalyst for Sleeper then.
I got the Catalyst and I got the 400 Midnight Coup.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no reason
it's
around
all
again,
right. Low key, don't tell anyone I said this, but I do sometimes sabotage DPS phases for Valkor just to hear the better music in Phase 2.
Oh, well.
Because it really picks up in the second phase. You get the choir and everything. It's great.
Nice.
I strongly recommend anyone who has the time, just go check out the soundtrack for the fight on YouTube. You won't regret it.
See, that's crazy if you have to do that to hear the soundtrack. That's why I like the vault encounter so much, and why we use that in this podcast is because it's just so you hear the cool music in the third part of the vault encounter every time, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. It picks up that high energy. Love it.
I love it because it makes, like, you can tell, it makes people panic, and it makes their heart racing, but literally nothing changes about the encounter. It's still the exact same thing you were doing.
Yep.
But now it's got an even greater sense of urgency.
Very true. All right, well, what else is good this week, Sin? Anything on your notes before we start thinking about wrapping up for the week?
Don't think so. We did that. We did what? The Leviathan, the PS4 raid. Ran that. Got somebody through that had never done it before.
Oh yeah, let's mention that really quick because I was talking about that before the show. That's why I forgot. But that was always nice. We have a new member that joined the Discord, and he had been playing. It's Arm the Sharks, and he'd been playing Destiny for just a few weeks.
Baby
and
shark do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know he probably gets that a lot, but every time I see his name, I can't help.
I know, right? I don't want to hear that song.
Plus, with having kids, it's like ingrained in my head.
Yeah. But we got him through a raid. He had not done any raids yet, so figured let's do Leviathan. It's always the great first one to get people through, and it'll go along with the theme of the new season.
And I know we do have on the docket to get Chris 3711 through Last Wish at some point. Mm-hmm. So we do need to schedule that in for him.
We do.
That's always a great one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
we have lots on the docket.
It's one of my favorite raids, Last Wish. It's really a masterpiece.
It is. And maybe because I suck at Spire and I've never completed it, but Eater Worlds was always fun. Leviathan, Last Wish. I've only completed Scourge a few times, but I've really enjoyed that one as well. But it always seems like the go-to is Last Wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gives the high level drops. And even though it's maybe a little bit longer, especially for people who haven't done it yet, it's really fun.
It's got great set pieces. It's got great soundtracks. The loot from it is really good.
Oh, and Versten, please tell us your high horse about why running it legit way is better.
So I'm the type of person that thinks, okay, very first time I did Crota's End Bridge, I did it legit. And I've done it legit every time I've done it. The Riven fight, I think I told you this, but I only do it legit. A lot of people look at me like I'm crazy, and that might be true, but it's like once you learn the in and outs of the fight, it's really not that bad. And the fight itself it's forgiving enough that if you have, like a few people that know how to do it, you can easily Sherpa a few people through it at a time.
I know you're right. I mean, we've just all the communities gotten in a pattern of just doing it the easier way because why not, right? But I tried the legit way at first when it was harder at the very beginning before we knew any better. And, knew any better might be the wrong term in your mind, but before we knew of the other ways. And I'm sure going into it for how well I know the raid now, learning the legit way would be fairly easy.
It's definitely a lot easier than it was on launch, that's for sure. I think probably the best way I could describe it, as for why I'd encourage people to do it legit, especially for their first time, is one of my fire team, like this will stick with me for a long time, but the fire team that I completed my first last shift with, it was an LFG, and one of the guys, as soon as we killed Riven, like everybody was getting so excited because we had been at this for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And when we finally killed the heart, one guy was like, oh man, I haven't felt that good about beating an encounter since Vault of Glass.
Yeah, it is an accomplishment.
It's an experience, in all honesty. And I think it's a little bit dulled when you just, again, I'm kind of biased and I haven't done the cheese, so I may be missing something here, but I do think it kind of cheapens it if you just go into a room and shoot rockets at her or grenades.
You're missing the fun getting teleported into another room if you go to the wrong one.
Yeah, the riveting gameplays, such as joining allies 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's all so fun.
So what I heard Versten say is that we're going to set up, what's tonight? So Sunday. Tomorrow night, he's going to Sherpa us through on Last Wish. PC. So we can experience the Riven clear legit.
I mean, hey, if I can get the other guys together, because most of the people I know, I forced them to do it legit, so they know how to as well. I can certainly help you out with that. And unlike a lot of people who would just throw you on the ag clear, I'll even give you a chance to learn the mechanics for yourself.
Yeah,
there we go. It's sold. I'm in.
We'll get it. Well, I'm down for trying it for sure. I mean, it's
really not that bad. Yeah. Bring a Titan.
Okay.
Bring a Titan with a towering
barricade. That'll be
that's
a little bit of an issue.
I can be the
NPC,
token Titan.
You can be
the token Titan.
Are you saying? Yeah, that's true. At least as long as we have one.
Titans are useful for something, guys.
Yes,
and that's blocking an ogre.
Oh, and Last Wish, they've been useful. Yeah, and giving the buff when we needed it. Yeah, so of course we don't need that as much these days. Well, I wanted to quickly read some reviews of our podcast because I'd promised we'd done that, and I slacked for doing that last week. We have 2 reviews. We have 3, but one of them...
You blew it!
Do you want me to read your review, Sin?
Go for it. I don't even remember what I put.
Let's get the party started. These 2 are awesome. I'm kind of partial to that guy, Sin. LOL. Just kidding. Kingsley is the man, too. Thank you, Sin, for giving us our first review on iTunes.
Hey, shameless plug or shameless promotion, I guess.
I mean, this was back on April 26th. But then we have another review from Biff-O-Matic, my great friend Biff. Played with him quite a bit back in D1 times. And he says, 2 guys that love the community and are super knowledgeable. A great listen. Keep it up, guys. Thank you, Biff, very much for that review. And then we have Gear Dad, a.k.a. Gear Dad is his full handle. He says, there's always room for another Destiny podcast, especially if it's as fun and entertaining as the one like the Guardian Hub. Want to get to know more members of the community? Then this is the show for you. Keep it up. Great work, fellas. I give the show 5 out of 5 Galgadots.
Galgadots.
Yeah, that's our little inside joke there. But thank you very much, Gear Dad.
I would have preferred 10 Mila Kunis.
That's honestly always good too. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for those reviews. Again, if anyone leaves a review, we will read it on the show. And let's see, anything else? Versten, do you do anything you want to plug? Do you have a Twitter, stream, anything at all? No worries if you don't, but if you do, now's the time.
I don't, actually. I'm one of those guys who just really likes to play Destiny. So, like, if I see you out in the wild, then, hey, I mean, add me up. Maybe we'll do something. I am on PC, so you might run into me. I'm probably one of the only Verstens in existence.
Well, great player, great PC person. Anyone who wants to raid, learn things, feel free and hit him up. He's in our Discord, obviously, and as you're listening to this, you can see him as Versten in our Discord. So definitely check that out. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure's all mine. We'll go with that.
No, that works, and we're very happy to have you on. Alrighty then. Well, with that, Sin, what is your contact info for how the lovely listeners can get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitch, occasionally streaming, twitch.tv/SinMedia. And on the Bluebird of the internet is Sin_media.
It's been a long week. We all sound tired.
It is. It has been a long week.
I'm doing my Flashpoint as we speak.
Oh, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
The multitasking.
I'm tired.
I've been up for almost 24 hours just making sure that I get these bounties done.
Yep.
Raid prep is hard.
Raid prep.
Do it while you can. And Kingsley, take us away.
Yep, I am Kingsley, also known as Kingsley Mac is my handle on PlayStation. On PC, I am Kingsley Mac 1828. On Twitch, I'm Kingsley Mac, and I occasionally just stream when I raid. And on Twitter, I am MC Kingsley. You can find our show at our website, theguardianhub.com. And you can also find us on Twitter as The Guardian Hub. With that, thanks everyone for listening. Hope you have a good week. Hope you are enjoying the new season of Opulence as you are listening to this.
And I wish all of you best of luck on clearing Crown of Sorrows.
Yes.
The first week.
Good luck.
And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year.
I'm more of a Halloween person myself, but I guess Mother's Day is okay too.
Halloween is awesome. And Father's Day and all of the above. Happy Bungie Day. Happy everything. All right, everyone.
I feel like there was a pair of words they created for that sort of thing. Started like an H or something. I don't know.
All I can think of is the Blink-182 song called Mother's Day. And I encourage people to listen. It is quite vulgar.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark.
You really can't get that out of your head, can
you? No.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about my name being pronounced wrong either.
Oh yeah.
I'm
still recording. Tell us how your name is pronounced wrong by some people.
I've heard pretty much every different combination. People have added letters into it. People have taken letters away from it. Versten, Verstern, Verstein, Verstehern.
It's not that hard. Come on.
It's really not. I like the meaning behind the name too.
Do tell.
So the spelling might not be exact, but basically, if you translate it literally, unless somebody corrects me, it means the worst one in a region.